One thing I've noticed about human beings is that almost everyone wants to be understood, but very few people take the time to understand others. People want their pain to be recognized, they want their struggles to be acknowledged, they want someone to see beyond the smile, beyond the confidence, beyond the image they present to the world. But at the same time, many people walk through life making assumptions about others without knowing their story. Yes. I have also noticed that the person who seems the strongest is often carrying the heaviest burden. The person who is always helping everyone is often the one who needs help the most. The person who makes everyone laugh may be fighting battles nobody knows about. And the person who keeps saying, I am fine, is sometimes just tired of explaining what they are going through. Yes. Another thing again is that people are often more influenced by emotions than logic, even when they believe they are being logical. Many decisions that people justify with reasons were actually made with feeling, or let me say feelings first. People choose relationships because of emotions. They leave opportunities because of fear. They avoid difficult conversations because of discomfort. Then later, they create logical explanations for choices that were emotional from the beginning. I have also noticed that many people spend years chasing things they think will make them happy, only to discover that happiness was never hidden there in the first place. Some people chase money, some chase status, some chase attention, some chase validation. And while none of those things were necessarily bad, they often disappoint people who expect them to solve internal problems. One thing I have also learned is that loneliness is not always the absence of people. Sometimes loneliness is being surrounded by people who don't truly know you. Some of the loneliest individuals are not alone at all. They are in the relationship, families, they have families, workplaces, and social circles where they feel unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. Another thing I've learned is I have noticed about human beings is that most people are carrying fears they rarely talk about. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough, fear of ending up alone, fear of wasting their lives. These fears influence far more decisions than people are willing to admit. I have realized that people often become what life repeatedly demands from them. The person who was forced to be strong becomes independent to all, to a fault. The person who was hurt repeatedly becomes guided. The person who was ignored becomes quiet. The person who was constantly criticized may spend years doubting themselves. Many adult behaviors are simply survival strategies that have been carried forward for years. One thing I've also noticed is that people rarely change because they receive information. They change when they have an experience that forces them to see themselves differently. And that is why advice often fails. People can hear the same lesson 100 times and ignore it. Then one life experience happens and suddenly the lesson makes perfect sense. The older I get, the more I realize that nearly everyone is fighting a private battle. Some battles are visible, most are not. That is why kindness matters. That's why patience matters. That is why understanding matters. Because the person standing in front of you may be carrying far more than you could ever imagine. At the end of the day, one thing I've noticed about human beings is that beneath all the differences, most people want the same things. They want peace, they want purpose, they want connection, they want to feel valued, they want to feel understood. And many of the things people do, both good and bad, are attempts to satisfy those very human needs. The more I learn about people, the less I judge them. And the more I realize everyone is carrying a story I cannot see.